Thank you very much, everybody. My name is Paul McCabe, and joining me today is going to be Mr. Ichiro Yazawa and Kazuyoshi Sasamori, and we're all going to be presenting to you. We've actually changed our talk. Our talk today is going to be Jar Jar Binks was good for Star Wars, fight me. No, we're going to talk about our holistic approach to AI, and our focus is going to be on policy, governance, and innovation in a balanced equation. I already mentioned our speakers. We're from a new group in Roland called Roland Future Design Lab. And so we're sitting just outside of product R&D, and we have a much broader horizon, and we're looking at disruptive technology, macro trends, and considering how we can bring those into the business to the benefit of the business. And you'll see here that our vision here is design the future of music creation, technology by exploring and harnessing emerging trends, fostering innovation, and helping to shape the global creative landscape for the next 50 years. So, when we consider AI in Roland, as I mentioned, we are taking a balanced approach that looks at policy, governance, and innovation. Our first stop in this is going to be to talk about policy. And I'm going to give you a timeline that shows you how we got to the point where a Japanese company was actually taking quite a progressive stand with regard to AI policy and responsible use of AI. So you'll see here in this timeline, in 2022, Roland was, as many companies were, starting to consider what our more progressive and our more broad AI roadmap would be. And we were having internal discussions about that and starting to think about what our own guidelines might be. Of course, November of that year, OpenAI introduced ChatGPT. And as you all know, we immediately felt the anxiety groundswell from the global creative community as we all started to consider what the impact on our livelihoods, on our pastimes would be. So in April, I visited the Microsoft's big annual developer conference in Seattle called Build. And this was really the big coming out party for AI to the consumer. And what we could see there was many companies now actually starting to make a public declaration about what their positions were with regard to responsible use of AI, including Microsoft. And so I brought that back into our company, and we started to really reconsider that, maybe Roland, with now at that point a 50-year-old company with a pretty solid brand reputation, maybe we had a role to play in helping to encourage what we now refer to as aligned AI. And so we now started to think about making something that was more public-facing. In August, the Universal Music Group made a partnership announcement with YouTube, where they were going to start co-developing some new creative tools for the AI-based creator tools for the YouTube platform. And as part of that announcement, they also introduced 3 very high-level principles that were going to govern how they were going to approach development for generative AI applications. And at that point, I remember clearly reading it, and I thought, that might be a better approach. You all know that Roland was, at the very beginning of MIDI, and we were, proponents very early on for that being a very open standard that everybody could adopt. And I started to think, maybe this is kind of the next moment, but potentially at a much, grander scale. And that maybe what we needed to do was approach other companies in the music industry, and not just the musical instrument business, that is our main realm, but outside of that as well. So I did what any entrepreneurial Canadian living in Los Angeles would do. I said, I'm going to email Sir Lucian Grange. Don't know Sir Lucian Grange, the CEO of Universal Music Group, didn't have his email address, wasn't in his Rolodex. So I started to guess email addresses. This is absolutely true. The first 3 bounced right away. The 4th just disappeared. I woke up the next morning and I had a reply from his executive assistant saying, we'd love to talk with you. It's like, oh yeah, I know Sir Lucian Grange. By the way, I also had to Google how you email a knight in the Royal Order. I had no idea, what the do's and don'ts are of sending an email to a sir like that. But obviously I didn't make too big of a mistake. Anyway, so we started some discussions with Universal Music Group. We decided that there was a lot of alignment between our brands and some really core values, especially in this space. And so we started to co-develop our own, what became the principles for music creation with AI. And as you'll see, in March of 2024, we introduced those principles to the world. These were the basic concepts or guidelines that we followed. Of course, from the very beginning, we imagined that we would be establishing principles that, as number one, respected and protected human creativity, human in the loop, for sure. Respecting intellectual property. Roland has always been a very strong proponent of respecting the IP of our fans, our artists, our customers. Promoting transparency, making sure that as we develop technologies, how the technologies were built, how they were trained was going to be clear and open. Encouraging sustainability and enabling community feedback. That last one is going to become a bit of a theme as we continue on. So we published these principles and we made them open. So we'll show you the website, and there's a QR code coming up in a moment. But if you visit it, you'll see these 7 principles, and there's also a contact form where we invited brands to contact us, and I'll come back to the supporters in a little bit. But just running through the principles very quickly, I won't read them all word for word, but you'll see the first one here is really, calling out that human in the loop is important, right? And that humanity and music making and creation are inseparable. But we also, right at the very beginning, we say that, we're committed to innovation. We're not saying that we're averse to bringing AI and machine learning, all these related technologies into our world, but we think that it has to be done in a way that enhances and augments human creativity and doesn't outright displace it. That IP must be respected and protected, and really this one talks about equity. We don't define what equity means. We don't actually talk in terms of dollars and cents, but there needs to be equitable arrangements when IP is used, and there must be explicit permission gained for that IP to be used in any kind of a model training process. Transparency, we mentioned that one. The perspectives of artists must be solicited. And so we don't ever want to be in a position where we're just going off of our assumptions that something is going to be embraced and something's going to be seen as helpful rather than displacing. And so again, you're going to see our first step forward in making this real in just a moment when we get to the innovation part. And then finally, just kind of the call to action. We think that music is really, really important, and we're going to work together, to make this world embracing AI effective and responsible as well. So I mentioned that these principles were open. And we decided that we wanted a very low friction entry point for this. So it's a self-governed model. Brands that identify themselves as supporters of the principles for music creation with AI, they self-govern. And our theory there is that neither Roland nor Universal Music Group wanted to put ourselves in a position of being the police force in this. We didn't feel that we were capable of it. It wasn't a role that we wanted to have in the ecosystem either. But we also felt that should a brand transgress, that frankly speaking, the price that they would pay, based on the reaction that they got from their own community and their own stakeholders was likely going to be greater than any penalty that a governance model might deliver from AI for music. Easy opt-in, easy opt-out. Brands that sign up as supporters, it's really just a written confirmation via email saying that we're in. We ask them for some brand assets that allow them to appear on the site. If for any reason the brand decides that the principles no longer align with their own direction, then they just let us know and they're opted out. That's all there is really to it. But the support has been, frankly, beyond what we could have expected. I managed to avoid, when my executives asked me to define a KGI, I managed to avoid actually giving them a number, but I thought to myself, if within a year we could get to 50 supporters of AI for music, and that those 50 might represent various different aspects of the dimensions of the music industry, that would be a good accomplishment, and especially if we were continuing to grow from there. I'm very pleased to say that within this month, we're going to hit 100 supporters, and we've only been 6 months in. And so you'll see that those supporters range from academic institutions, Georgia Tech, Cal Arts, Queen Mary University, Simon Fraser, Vancouver and Moore, Sydney University. And then a range of brands. And what's so encouraging now is that we've got musical instrument brands, we've got software brands, We've got generative AI web app brands in these numbers as well. And these numbers continue to grow. So we actually, when we launched AI for Music, we didn't have a what's next. We thought that if we could establish this and we could play some part in getting an inside-out positive effect happening in the music industry, that this would kind of fulfill the purpose of AI for Music. But we had a lot of questions now from supporter brands saying, what else is happening? What else can we engage with? How can we help? So a couple of things that we're thinking about now is hopefully in December, we're going to launch some information webinars for supporters and their staff with the companies that are represented, with the Universal Music Group's reach, with Roland's brand power as well. We've got access to a lot of really interesting and well-aligned thought leaders in this space, and so we're going to make those voices available to our supporters as well. And we're also considering something for consumers on the AI for Music website as well, a fairly trained list of products and services from supporter brands as well. That's probably something that'll happen in the early part of 2025. I'm very pleased to say that there are actually many companies that are supporters of AI for Music that are here at the Audio Developers Conference. And if you're one of those companies right now, truly, from the bottom of our hearts, thank you very much for joining us in this mission. If you're not yet, then please join us. It's a very, very simple process. I'll be the one that's replying to your email, so we can have a nice conversation about Jar Jar Binks, if you like, while we get you signed up for AI for Music. But we'd love to have you as part of this really important movement. Okay, now we're going to talk about the next aspect of Roland's holistic approach to AI, and that moves from policy now to governance mechanisms. And for that, I'd like to bring up Mr. Ichiro Yazawa from my team.
Thank you, Paul-san. Hello, everyone. I'm Ichiro Yazawa, leader of Advanced R&D Group in Roland Future Design Lab. So today I'll be talking about music provenance project. The word provenance here means origin or ownership. And this project is an initiative aimed to protect digital music copyright and safeguarding the rights of artists and creators. So first, let me explain the background. Currently, there is a surge in AI music generation apps, and some of these apps use the data for model training that may infringe copyright. This leads digital fakes and copyright issues and negatively impacting artists and creators. So why music provenance is necessary? It is to protect the value of human creativity to address the background situation. By supporting the application of generative AI to enhance human creativity and verifying the authenticity of the music asset and ensuring transparency of AI model training data, including musicians' revenue and creating new opportunities for engagement with fans are also important. So we, in collaboration with Universal Music Group and Roland, are studying to build an open system that identifies attribute music asset throughout the entire music production process. So this will clarify the origin and ownership of the music asset and label them visibly for users and enable creators to share the revenue. So next is a concrete example. And in the left side, food packaging includes ingredients and logos that prove that a product has cleared various laws and regulations. So this gives customers to trust when making purchases. An example of chocolate milk is given on the left. And information such as singer's lyric and composer is currently provided for music, But in the future image of music in the right side, and you can also see the other performers and instrument use, such as use of AI Rhythm Maker plugin, drums, and use of AI voice transformer for vocals. In addition, there will be logos that prove the transparency of AI training data and logos that show the provenance of the music. So currently we are studying goal of music provenance project. If you are interested in this music provenance project, please visit AI for Music website and join us. And my presentation is end here, and thank you for listening. And next, I would like to hand over to Sasamori-san.
Yazawa-san, thank you for the introduction. Hello, everyone. I'd like to present the third topic, AI assist the tone suggest. So first, I have a question for you. Are you good at choosing tone on synths and plugins? Honestly, I love choosing tones. However, choosing the tone, right sound is tricky. There is no correct answer, no way to run, and no theory. So some people don't feel confident about it. Why is that? For example, imagine a keyboard with only 10 tones. It's easy to know all tones. So choosing a tone from there is easy. Next, imagine a keyboard with 3,500 tones. Honestly, it's huge. And memorizing all 3,500 tones isn't easy. It's tough to pick from these options. If instruments choose for us, we'd spend less time deciding. So I've created. It's Tone Explorer. It's an AI assistant that suggests tone when you input a phrase. This time, we'd like to introduce it in a video.
I will introduce you by actually using Tone Explorer. You can get suggestions by entering a phrase. This time, let's record a single note phrase with a low tone that evokes the image of a bass. The AI on the server suggested some recommendations. On this screen, we initially display 5 recommended categories in order of recommendation by score. The first category is bass. Within it, there are 10 recommended tones prepared in order of recommendation. I like this sound. In that case, we'll mark it using a feature called clip. Feel free to clip any instrument category you enjoy listening to, not just bass. Let's explore and save the sounds that catch your ear. Now that we've gone through the recommendations, you might want to dive deeper. In that case, you can explore further using the constellation screen. Let's try zapping through all categories in score order. The slider on the left is for control. On the constellation screen, you can also clip items that catch your interest if you'd like. You can search not only by score, but also based on history. I've visited this area several times, and the sound quality here is quite good. If you explore around here, you're likely to get some great results. Let's also clip this tone. After you've done some clipping, you can set the slider to clip. You can then listen again to the items you've selected so far. In this way, we were able to select 7 tones from a total of 3,500 tones. After that, you will be able to choose from these options. Additionally, you can load SMF files to receive suggestions. Tone Explorer offers a new way to choose your sounds.
How was it? Tone Explorer successfully picked 7 tones from the 3,500 tones. I think it is easier than before. Also, this result is decided by the user's choice. And the AI doesn't suggest the right tone. This AI simply increases users' opportunity to discover new tones. These two are very important key points of AI usage, we think. Next, I'd like to describe the mechanism. People often choose tones that are good for phrase. This suggests a correlation between phrases and tones. I thought providing an indicator based on this correlation could make tone selection easier. However, we found a problem. Look at the figure in the slide. This simple one-bar phrase are musically similar, but this is just a slight change in one beat. And there are many more variations possible. Next, therefore, we can see there are countless combinations. Next, consider tone. We recognize it not just by name, but as sound. This also contains vast amount of information. Existing algorithm can't easily cover this vast amount of information. It's practically impossible. Then we remembered a technology that can handle vast amount of information. It's neural network. We believe neural networks could make it happen. However, phrase and sound information are different modalities. I realized that multimodal technology is necessary. So we consulted with Cosmo. Cosmo is an AI collective in Tokyo, exploring human creativity and music with AI. As you know, they recently launched a new tone, an AI plugin. This project worked together by a team of 4 and Roland, CEO Dr. Tokui, UI designer Mr. Ise, and model developers Mr. Bogdan and Dr. Masuda. After discussing our initial idea, Dr. Tokui suggested applying the metric learning. Metric learning brings similar things closer and pushes these similar things apart. After discussions, we started developing this as a collaboration project between our companies. I'd like to briefly introduce the model structure. First, SMF is tokened used by MIDI-Talk, then transformed into about 800 dimensional features by BART. This is the features of MIDI phrases. Zenology Pro has nearly 20,000 sounds, but we are focusing on the core 3,500 tones. The tone undergoes acoustic analysis, resulting in roughly 150 dimensional features. This is the features of acoustic. Both have metadata like tone numbers and names. We embedded these into MLPs. We train these MLPs using metric learning to get model. This model has providing the NAS numeric of distance. Let's see how the app actually works. The trained AI model takes MIDI input, tokenize it, and maps it to the phrase-based tone distribution. This reflects on the corresponding acoustic-based tone distribution, giving us distance to each tone. We converted this distance into metrics for our customers. So we believe AI can expand the potential of electric musical instruments. We aim to support users, not replace them, leading to more amazing achievements. Our team of 4, front-end programmer Mr. Arima, solution architect Ms. Tashiro, and our group leader Mr. Yazawa and me will continue to exploring this technology. Today, we've released it as a public technical preview. Experience this technology through our collaboration with Roland Cloud's Super Instrument Galaxies. Please access via this QR code. We are offering a 3-month Roland Cloud Ultimate Plan. Thank you for listening to my presentation. Now I'll hand over to Paul.
Thank you, Sasamori-san. Thank you, Yazawa-san. So to conclude, we've talked today about our holistic approach to AI, which balances policy, governance, and innovation. We're happy to talk to you more about that, and we'd love for you to become a supporter for AI for Music. Roland Future Design Lab is growing. We've got job postings here. We would love to consider your candidacy for a role in Roland Future Design Lab. And now we'd just like to say thank you very much for your time.